Hello, my name is Keshwani. There's Keshwani, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for SAT. We have been solving SAT math problems out of this book here, the official SAT study guide. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we're about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 833. Please turn to it. Page number 833. And today is our lesson number 108. Starting on page number 83, we see gradient questions. We see gradient questions beginning with question number 9. Two questions that we see on page number 833, those are easy. The following four questions that you see on page number 834, those are mediums. And finally, the last four questions that you see on page number 835, those are hard. They go on a scale of difficulty of 1 through 10. But to make your life easy, just think of these in terms of pages. That's what I do. The first page always has two questions, those are easy. The next four are going to be medium, the last four are going to be hard. Let's take a look at it. Number 1. When I say number 1, I mean number 9. We are told that 10 over A equals B over 12. The question is, what's the value of A times B? Well, A times B, just cross multiply it, and A times B, of course, is 10 times 12, which is 120. Nothing to it. Very simple, very straightforward, obviously. On a scale of 1 to 10, this is number 1. Number 2. We're given a series of numbers here, 150, 30, 6, and so forth. And the question reads, in the sequence above, each term after the first term is 1/5 of the term preceding it. Let's verify that. Each term after the first term is 1/5 of the term preceding it. For example, 30 is 1/5. 30 is 1/5 of the term preceding it. Term preceding it is 150. If you take 1/5 of 150, that's 30, and then next term is going to be 1/5 of 30. 1/5 of 30 is going to be 6. The question simply is, what is the fifth term? So let's find it, shall we? Let's find it. So 3 of them are given to us. Let's find the fourth term. Fourth term is going to be, the fourth term is going to be 1/5 of the term preceding it. Here's our fourth term. The term preceding it is 6, so it's going to be 1/5 of 6 or 6 over 5. But we're not interested in the fourth term, we are being asked the value of the fifth term. So the fifth term, we already know the fourth term is 6/5, so we're going to put that in here. The fourth term is 6/5. And the one after that, the fifth term, is going to be 1/5 of 6/5. That's it. So it's 6 over 30 is the answer. No, 6 over 25, sorry. 6 over 25. 5 times 5 is 25. You see how careless, this is no good. The reason all of a sudden I caught myself is because I remembered that it just remained the way it was. Had it been 6 over 30, the way I had written a second ago, we could have reduced it. 6 over 30 could have been reduced as 1/5, and that couldn't possibly be the answer. The only way it could be 1/5 is if the previous term was exactly 1, because 1/5 of 1 is 1/5. You see what I mean? I was about to write that as 6 over 30, which is same as 1 over 5. But the only way this term could be 1 over 5 is if the term preceding it was exactly 1, because 1 times 1/5 would have been 1 over 5. But of course it's not 1. Anyway, that's my very long explanation as to how I figured out all of a sudden that something had gone awry, something was not right. Next problem, number 11, on the next page. And 834. 5 points A, B, C, D, and E lie on a line, but not necessarily in that order. AB has a length of 24. So A to B, we know for a fact has a length of 24. So those points are fixed. That is fixed. It's 24. Let's put a box around it so we know it's fixed. Point C is the midpoint of AB. Alright, so point C is also a fixed point. We are told that it's the midpoint, which means from here to here is 12, and from here to here, from C to B, is 12, because it's the midpoint. So far so good. This point C is the midpoint of AB. Point D is the midpoint of AC, A to C. So here's our point D, and that is also fixed. And that's the midpoint. That means from here to here is 6, and from here to here is 6. So far so good. What the hell are they asking? If the distance from D to E is 5, if the distance from D to E is 5, what is one possible distance from A to E? D to E. So where's D to E? Ah, alright. So here's our D, and now we are told the distance from D to E is 5. So there are two possibilities. There are two possibilities. There are two possible scenarios. Two possible scenarios. One is that E is to the right of D. Another possible scenario obviously is just the other way. E is to the left of D. That's all. We're going to do one by one both of them. Let's put E to the right of D. If we put E to the right of D, E would be somewhere here, and we are told that the distance from D to E is 5. Let's see what the question is asking. What is one possible distance from A to E? Well, in that case, listen carefully now, okay? If we were to put E to the right of D, then distance from D to E would be 5, as we show here. D to E is 5, and in that case, the distance from A to E would be A to D is 6. In this case, A to D is 6, and then plus, in this scenario, distance from A to E would be A to D, plus A to E would be A to D plus D to E, which is 6 plus 5, giving us an answer of 11. And of course there is one more answer, which is what happens if E is to the left of D? Well, let's find out, shall we? I'm going to erase this part now, and we're going to put E to the left of D. Well, that's very simple. In that case, distance from A to E would simply be 1. In this case, in the second scenario, A to E is just 1. So there are two right answers. 11 is the right answer. 11 is the correct answer, and so is 1. Which one do you grade in? Well, whichever you fancy. Do you understand? It makes no difference. They are both correct, and you will get full credit. Either you grade in 11 or 1. Whatever clicks in your mind, whatever works for you is fine. Number 12. That's it. We're done with this one. I'll give you a second to absorb it. While I absorb my tea. Number 12. What is the greatest of the 5 consecutive integers if their sum is 185? So we are told that their sum is 185 and there are 5 of them. So if you were to divide them by if you were to divide their sum by 5, what we are technically finding is the average of these 5 numbers, but the average of these 5 numbers, because of the fact that they are 5 consecutive numbers, therefore the average also happens to be the number that falls right in the middle. But once we find the number that falls right in the middle, we can find out all of them. So let's find out, shall we? What is 185 divided by 5? Well, there are a couple of ways we can go about it. One is to actually do it out, which is how many 5s in a 1? 1 has 0 5s, and that one goes and joins the 8, becomes 18. How many 5s in 18? 18 has 3 5s. 3 5s are 15. The remaining 3 goes and joins the 5, becomes 35. How many 5s in 35? 35 has 7 5s. So that's it. The middle number is 37. The middle number is 37. which means the one above it is 36, the one above that is 35, we have 38, and we have 39. That's one way we could have figured out what is 85 divided by 5. Another quicker way would have been to simply realize that 185 is exactly 15 less than 5, or 15 less than 200. 185 is exactly 15 less than 185. 185, one more time, 185 is exactly 15 less than 200. We know there are 25s in 100, therefore there must be 45s in 200, and 185 is exactly 15 less than 200, which means instead of 45s we have 37 fives. Anyway, so that's it. The question is, what is the greatest of these five numbers? And the greatest of these 5 numbers is this guy. This is our answer. That box that I put there is to signify that that's the middle number. It doesn't have any significance. The answer is 39. The answer is 39. That's one way of doing this thing, this problem that we just did. One more time, we take the sum of the 5 numbers, we divide by 5. Once we divide the sum of these 5 numbers by 5, essentially what we're finding here is the average. But you have to be quick enough to realize that the average of these 5 numbers also happens to be the middle number. For example, if somebody were to come up to you and ask you what's the average of 7, 8, and 9, well, the average of 7 and 9, we're not going to be silly enough to sit there and go 8 plus, we're not going to be silly enough to go 7 plus 8 plus 9 divided by 3. You could do that. You could do that to find the average of these 3 numbers, or you could be quick enough to realize that 8 is 1 less than 7 and 8 is 1 more than 9. So, therefore, the average is 8 because of the fact that they are equally spaced. Do you understand? The average of 13, 17, and 21. What's the average of 13, 17, and 21? Well, again, they are equally spaced. 13 is 4 less than 17, and 17 is 4 less than 21. They're equally spaced. Therefore, the average is the middle guy. That's all. That's all. As long as they're equally spaced, the average is going to be the middle number. So that was one way of doing it. Another way we could have solved this problem, number 12 that we just finished, is to do it in the classical way, in the algebraic way, in the conventional way, in the traditional way, which is to simply set it up like this. We can pretend that the lowest number among the 5 numbers is x. And because they're consecutive number, the one after that is going to be 1 more than the first number. And the one after that, the third number, is going to be 2 more than the first number. And the one after that is going to be 3 more than the first number. And finally, the last number is going to be 4 more than the first number. In other words, if this is 5, this is 6, 7, 8, and 9. You can see 9 is 4 more than 5. And now, we add them all up and we are told that their sum is 185. And we just solve for x. So that's another way we could have done it. In which case we get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which is not a surprise because there are 5 numbers. So 5x plus 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 4 is 10. 185, and therefore 5x equals 175, and therefore x will equal 175 is 25 less than 200. We just had that discussion. And 200 has 45s, therefore 175 will have 35 fives. And that's our smallest number. X is our smallest number. Therefore the largest number is going to be 35, 36, 37, x plus 2, x plus 3 would be 38, 39, 39, and there you go, that's our largest number. The answer is 39. So that's another way we could have done this problem. Let's do the next one, number 13. Which method do you do? Which method do you apply? Well, whatever clicks, whatever you can do it fast, whatever you can do it in an efficient manner, whatever you can do it correctly. You have to find a fine balance between the accuracy and speed. Being accurate is not good enough if it's going to take you an inordinate amount of time, and being able to do something fast is not good enough if you're going to bomb it. If you're going to make a mistake, that's not good. Do you understand? I just used the word, I said being accurate is not good enough. What I said was being accurate is not good enough if it's going to take you inordinate amount of time. We'll learn this word in a second, inordinate. We'll learn it in a second. Let's finish the problems. Number 13. A salesman's monthly gross pay consists of $1,200 plus 20% of his sales, plus 20% of sales. So let's call this the base salary, and then he gets the commission plus 20% of his sales. All right. If his gross pay for 1 month was $2,500, so his gross pay is $2,500. What was the amount of his sales for that month? All right. So if his gross pay is $500, which is made up of the base salary of $200 plus the 20% of sales, if you subtract $1,200 from both sides, in other words, 20% of his sales, equals $1,300. What does it tell us? It tells us that if 20% of something equals $1,300, that implies that 10% must equal half of this amount. Half of this amount is $650. That implies that 10% must equal $650, and therefore 100%, which is 10 times 10, must equal 10 times 650, or 6,500. His total sales must have been 6,500, because 10% of 6,500 is 650. Therefore, 20% would be 1,300. 1,300 plus his base salary of 1,200, giving him a grand total of 2,500 in gross wage. That was it. Let's go to the last one, number 14. Number 14. Naomi makes a silver jewelry. Oh, good for her. For one style of earring, she cuts the wedges from the silver disc, as shown in the picture above. All right. Each wedge makes a 40-degree angle at the center of the disc, as it is shown. So that apparently is the center of the disc. If the weight of each uncut disc is uniformly distributed, if the weight of each uncut disc is a uniformly distributed 2.5 gram, how many gram does each wedge weigh? Oh, for crying out loud. So set it up as a ratio problem. We know the entire circle is 360 degrees. The entire circle makes 360 degrees. Set it up as a ratio, degrees versus weight. So 360 degrees, which is the entire circle, which we are told is 2.5 gram. We are told that the weight of the uncut disc is a uniformly distributed 2.5 gram. The reason they emphasize uniformly distributed is because the weight is not concentrated in one half of the circle or one part of the circle or in the middle. It's uniformly distributed. How many gram does each wedge weigh? Well, the wedge is 40 degrees. The wedge that they're showing us here. Let me erase this 360 in a minute. It is 40 degrees. So the question is if 360 weighs 2.5, what will be the weight of the wedge, which is 40 degrees? As I said, set it up as a proportion problem and just solve for it. Cross multiply. So that tells us that 360 times x equals 2.5 times 40. Divide both sides by 360, so we can get rid of the 360 from here. And x equals 2.5 times 40 over 360. Now, I do not know about you. I do not know about you, but I'm looking at what I did here in my notes here. But I do not know about you, but I do not like dealing with decimals. I hate it. So what I'm going to do is multiply top and bottom by 10. Which what happens? If you multiply top and bottom by 10, now 25 times 10, or rather 2.5 times 10 will give us 25. Will give us 25. 2.5 times 10 gives us 25 times 40 over 36 times 10, 360 times 10 should be 3600, but I'm going to write 3600 as 36 times 100. Why? So that we can get rid of 25 with 100, it goes into 4 times. Oh, there you go, and this 4 goes into 40 10 times. And this 10 goes into 36 5 times and 18 times. There you go, that's it. 5/18 is the answer. The answer is 5/18. The answer is 5/18. That's all. I will see you tomorrow and we'll continue our journey on the next page. Alright? Try not to use the calculator, okay? Leave the bloody thing alone. Try to use your brain. Calculator does not help you in this exam. It slows you down, and calculator is not going to scream if you make a silly mistake. If you end up making a stupid mistake, or if you end up pressing a wrong button, it's not going to scream. It's not going to say, hey, you dummy. It's not going to do that. Use your own brain. Do it yourself manually so that you're more alert, you're more in tune with the problem. You understand? That's the way I look at it. Okay? I'll see you tomorrow. Okay? Bye now.